Hi everyone, my name is Bryce, and today I'd like to discuss the rise of esports gaming in Canada and many of the legal issues that will accompany this new sport. If you're like most people in Canada, you might not know anything about competitive video gaming, or esports as it's so called. If you know anything about video games, you might wonder if playing them can even qualify as a sport. Let me assure you that esports is indeed a high-performance competition that shares many qualities with both traditional team and individual sports. Esports athletes train, are scouted by organizations, and sign endorsement contracts, just like other athletes. So let's get into it. As a lifelong video game fan, it's been very interesting to me to watch this sport grow. While I'm not a huge fan personally of watching esports, it's funny to observe my roommates watching the Overwatch League or the Dota 2 World Championships in my living room while I watch Sunday football. What's already a massive industry in Asia and Europe is growing rapidly in Canada. Western University recently instituted several esports leagues to replace traditional intramural sports during the pandemic. Students can sign up to play FIFA, NBA 2K, NHL, and many others. If you were looking for some sports in the early stages of the pandemic, you can watch MLB players compete virtually on MLB The Show, NASCAR racers driving in the NASCAR I-League. More locally, the owner of the Vancouver Canucks, the Aquilini Group, recently purchased a franchise in the popular first-person shooter in Overwatch League called the Vancouver Titans. The MLS's Vancouver Whitecaps signed 20-something Alex Gonzalez Aldana to represent their team in the eMLS League, played through the game FIFA. And in Richmond, the first dedicated esports stadium was opened in 2018. Globally, the popularity of esports is already bigger than many traditional sports. Worldwide, esports captures an audience of approximately 454 million viewers, and the industry generates $1 billion annually, with both these numbers continuing to grow. In 2019, the most popular esports game, League of Legends, drew approximately 100 million viewers over the course of the tournament, rivaling that of the Super Bowl. If you're still doubting the seriousness of esports, then you need to look no further than the money involved. In the more popular esports leagues, such as the League of Legends and Dota 2, the prize pools are immense. In August 2019, Team OG won the Worldwide Dota Championship, with each member receiving $3.1 million, respectively. In July 2019, 16-year-old Kyle Giersdorf won the Fortnite World Cup and its $3 million top prize. For comparison, these amounts were greater than the prizes for the 2019 Masters, won by Tiger Woods, where he received $2 million, and the 2019 Wimbledon tournament, won by Novak Djokovic for $2.9 million. The Overwatch League, which is a new upstart league for the game Overwatch, has a structure similar to the NBA or NFL, with player contracts, salary cap, and annual salaries that average $100,000 a year. Many players sign before they're even 18 and have to wait for their chance to play legally. What does this all have to do with the law, though? Well, esports are a complex beast. Each different game is essentially its own sport, and with each sport comes different legal issues. In 2018, two Toronto area lawyers opened a firm dedicated to esports law. MKM lawyers spotted a gap in the market. Mostly young adults are being plucked out of their gaming chairs, signing huge contracts and winning millions of dollars while participating in an industry that is virtually unregulated. They need help navigating the worlds of contract law, labor law, immigration, and tax law. Game publishers and team owners need help with sponsorship contracts, real estate purchases, and gambling regulations. Finally, even esports isn't immune to the world of doping and other forms of cheating. The legal opportunities in esports are endless right now, so let's get into some of them. There is no regulatory structure in Canada related to the esports industry. Canadians participating in the industry are guided by legislation such as the Criminal Code and the Competition Act, and lawyers that deal with esports clients often have to combine expertise in entertainment law, labor law, and property law, to name a few. Because of the infancy of esports in Canada, litigation on esports matters is non-existent, but is expected to increase as the popularity of the sport rises. Without a doubt, the biggest issue in esports right now is player contracts. It's not uncommon to have a 16-year-old kid who is really good at Call of Duty sign a contract with Activision, one of the largest video game companies in the world. Power imbalance is a major issue, and these kids need advice before they sign up. Teams or game publishers often have strict requirements for players regarding how much they need to practice, how much they need to stream their gameplay, and whether they're allowed to go and play other games. In addition to this, the top players often get sponsorship deals. Nike recently signed a deal with Riot Games to sponsor players in the League of Legends Championship Series. With that comes exclusivity deals preventing players from representing other brands. When players are practicing, they often stream their gameplay. Popular streaming sites like Twitch and YouTube Gaming battle it out for exclusive rights to the streamer, often in exchange for millions of dollars. In 2019, Amazon's Twitch paid out $90 million for exclusive rights to broadcast the Call of Duty League. One example of a bad contract for a player included a Counter-Strike player being paid $200 a week with a $250,000 buyout clause. While contracts have gotten better as leagues grow their legitimacy, players are starting to hire agents and dealing more with specialized esports lawyers. Legislation was recently passed in the UK, Germany, and France, giving esports professional designation and providing them with similar protections to other pro athletes. In North America, though, esports players aren't protected by much and don't have that professional designation. This creates issues regarding taxes and immigration, as well as labor abuses. Esports players train just as hard as any other pro athlete, often up to 12 hours a day at the top levels. In the Overwatch League, they have dedicated dorms where they live and train with their teammates, as well as team coaches. With all this training, players have reported high levels of depression, anxiety, and stress, often with no recourse due to the requirements in their contracts. Another big problem is that people running the leagues are often people who make the game. These publishers have the ability to update the game at any time in order to change the balance or make the game more entertaining. Imagine training for years to play basketball, only to find out that come game time, they would be changing the shape of the ball. This is the harsh reality in esports, and many of the players have complained about these sudden changes. In the Call of Duty League, players such as James Eubank were shocked to find out that after competing for years in a 5-man team, the Call of Duty League would be changing to a 4-man format. As the 5th man on the depth chart, James was released from his contract. Players have already begun looking for more legal protections at the top levels. The League of Legends Championship Series now has a players' union, and other leagues are expected to follow suit as they gain popularity. Video games themselves are a form of intellectual property, and the competitive play of them introduces several issues not found in other sports. Players and leagues often need licensing permission from the publishers of the game in order to stream or broadcast. Players like the popular streamer Shroud have developed brands around their streaming, and often work with lawyers to copyright their streams or to trademark their unique gamer tags. Big publishers like Riot Games hold tight control over their IPs, and as a result, leagues have to be careful in the actions they take. Gambling is looked at as a huge opportunity in the esports community, but gambling on esports currently isn't allowed in Canada, as well as many other jurisdictions. It's similar to most other sports. Players can bet on individual results of matches. As esports grows, there will be a need for regulators to create legislation for esports gambling, and esports companies will look for help in making sure they're compliant through the advice of lawyers. Just like other high-performance sports, doping and other forms of cheating pose a serious risk to the fairness and competitive nature of esports. Professional esports players have been caught cheating in several ways, including secretly installing aim assist software by sneaking in USBs and plugging them into their computer, match fixing, and doping through using performance-enhancing drugs such as Adderall and Ritalin. In response to the growing number of cheaters in esports, 2 regulatory bodies were brought into existence. In 2008, the International Esports Federation was created to regulate esports internationally. In 2015, the Esports Integrity Coalition was created to address the growing number of cheaters in popular leagues such as League of Legends and Fortnite. No regulatory body for esports exists in Canada, but legal advice will be required for players caught or accused of cheating, especially as their salaries begin to mirror those of other high-performance sports. Esports continues to grow at a rapid pace in Canada and the world. It's even up for a spot in the Olympics. Players in popular leagues are becoming superstars at a very young age and earn prizes greater than that of many traditional sports. With so much at stake for these players, legal advice will be needed to prevent a power imbalance in contracts and ensure that publishers and league owners are not exploiting this new form of athlete. Issues of labor law, intellectual property, gambling, and cheating provide unique regulatory challenges for Canadian lawmakers and the esports industry. As young lawyers look for new opportunities in the legal market, esports may provide exactly what they're looking for. Thanks for listening, everyone, and I hope you learned something. Bryce, Gardner Productions.